This is the notification of individualized education program meeting. This is the notice you'll get probably in the mail. There will be a date that the notice was created to you, your address, on behalf of your child. An individualized education program meeting has been scheduled for maybe your child and where it's at and things like that. And it's to develop an education plan. It is very important that you attend. So make sure that you can make it, that the time and date work for you. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And it's to develop an IEP that's appropriate for your child. And if you'd like, you can review the education records ahead of time. I would encourage you to do that. Get any evaluations, any previous IEPs. Take a look at those, because then you can have good input into the meeting. Here they'll list what the meeting is about, your child's academic performance, any needs that your child may have as far as services and special education, that you'll be developing annual goals that you can meet, and the extent, usually it's a percentage that your child is in the regular classroom as opposed to a special ed setting. Say they're 80% in a regular classroom, 20% in a regular classroom setting, or a special ed setting. In addition to yourself, this lists the people that will attend. As we talked before, they're mandatory participants. They're you, the parent, then your regular classroom teacher, the special ed teacher, a school representative who can approve any decisions that are made, and someone who can explain the evaluation results. And of course, that's the mandatory participants that need to be there. Scrolling down the page, here are people that you can invite at your discretion. The school can invite people at their discretion also. If it's a transition meeting, there may be some agency personnel there, either from vocational rehab or a college counselor or something of that nature. If the above date, time, and place is not agreeable to you, if you can't make it there on that date and time and that place, they give you a person to contact and their phone number. Contact them. Schools are real good about working that out. And this section simply ensures that you get your procedural safeguards. You can read them. If you don't understand them, they give you a person for the school to contact and a phone number to help explain them to you. And that is page 1 of the notice of the IEP meeting. You may only get 1 or 2 pages. The next couple pages are, you may or may not get them. It depends on whether certain people can attend, but we'll go through those real quickly. But that's the first page. If a specific team member cannot attend, then the team member is identified here, and they can submit their information by writing for the development of the IEP that's considered by the IEP team, and then it's put into place with comment by the IEP team, and then once it is submitted in writing, the IEP is developed, and this person who's not attending will also get a copy of the IEP, but you have to agree to that. So this is for a teacher putting input in writing. Here's where your signature goes and the date, and here will be the teacher's or service provider's input. You do not have to agree to this. It's up to you, but sometimes it works pretty well, especially if a teacher is going to be out of town or something of that nature, to get your IEP finished. If you want them there, sure, let the school know, and the school will make sure that they get there. On this page, the third page, this is where a team member can be excused because any of their areas of teaching or providing related services is not being modified or discussed in the IEP meeting, and therefore they can be excused. That the school has to have your permission also for that. So if you want them there, you can make sure they're there. If that's okay with you, go ahead and sign and date it. If it's not going to be changed or modified, then if you're continuing services with a physical therapist and the services are going to continue exactly the same, and the physical therapist can't make it for some reason, then they can be excused. They will get a copy of the IEP, and so they'll know what's going on if anything does change. But if you want them there, you can ask for them to be there. As I said before, page 2 and 3 are, you may or may not see them in a notification of an IEP meeting. That's only if members can't attend or are busy doing something else. This section here involves when your child is in the transition stage. If an outside agency is invited, then the school will ask for your consent to make sure that's okay. And if you do, you just give your consent to invite. There's also a consent to release, and there's a certain number of records that you can consent or not consent to release to the person who's attending. I would encourage you to have the person attend during transition and provide any records that they may need. It's important that they're educated in your child, and your child is going to be going to their agency and being provided services by their agency, so it just makes for a good transition plan. I'd encourage you to do that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You just say down here, I do not consent, and here is the parent's signature and the date. Finally, you respond whether you plan to attend the meeting or are unable to attend the meeting. If you're not able to attend the meeting, let the school know. They're, like I said before, real good about getting things set up. But if you do a plan to attend the meeting, then you just check this box. This just says that you've been apprised of all the information for the proposed meeting. You sign here. If there's two parents, both parents sign. If there's just one parent, only one parent has to sign the date. And then you return it to these people here, and that is the notification IEP, so you know who's going to be there, what you're going to talk about, where it's going to be at, and if you're in transition, which agencies are going to be there. So that gives you a heads up on everything that's coming for the meeting. I would encourage you to get some of the records if you don't already have them, such as an evaluation or previous IEPs, to review prior to the IEP meeting. And if you have any questions, just contact your school.